Hey everybody, welcome back to Day 2 Breakfast with Bob from Clash Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by SFuels, HOKA, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, only one of our favorite people on the planet, Kat Matthews joins us. How you doing, Kat?
Hi Bob, thanks for having me. I think you say that to everyone.
I do not.
I've watched all the YouTubes.
I think it's the first time I've ever said that.
Well, that's very kind.
So, 2023 season. You know, you got a first, 70.3 Bahrain, a second at World Championships in Lati. That was a huge one.
Yep, it was a good one.
Pretty fun, right?
Yeah, I really like that course. I think the environment of it as well, and just generally, I think Lati was a cherry on the cake for last year.
Yeah, exactly. And you win Ironman Texas. That's a great win. Third, it's Oceanside. That's such a great variety. And then seventh in US Open. And people think they see seventh at a US Open or whatever it happens to be. That's like what you're seeing here. It's a world-class field.
Yeah. Respect to all the six who beat me on the day, yeah.
Yes, and especially when you're mixing in Ironman distance and then trying to go and play in that playground as well. You've been able to do all that variety. Now, I think you said the only person you haven't beaten is Lucy Charles Barkley?
I'd have to look at the list, but I
Oh, you have a list.
No, I'd have to go back and look at the, exactly the details of it. But the start list is dwindling a little bit because it's the start of the season. It's the first race of the year.
Yes.
It's a massive ask to be ready and fit to start this race. So I think because of those factors, we're naturally seeing a slightly smaller start list than we perhaps wanted.
Right.
I had a really good performance at Lati where I raced a lot of these women last year.
Yes.
And was able to come out on top there. And so my aspiration, it might not be realistic, is to then come out on top and do better. So beat Lucy as well.
Of course. Well, that's been your philosophy since you got it. But it's funny because it's 2024, but you still only, what'd you turn pro in 19 or something?
Yeah.
It's not that long that you've been into this thing. What got you into triathlon to begin with?
I realised I was quite good at it, so I gave it a go, and I was. So it was as
at
simple
the time,
as that.
well, you're still in the military, but
Yes.
the military supported your
yeah,
dream, saying,
yeah.
"Hey, I want to be a pro triathlete." Boom. And then it even started to start as an age group?
It was less so about being a professional athlete. I think, and that's sort of quite fundamental to me. I've never aspired to be a professional athlete. I've only ever aspired to the next step. Like we were just saying, you've beat the field, and now you need to beat someone who wasn't at the field. Lucy, like, it's just one more step up every time I'm trying to look at. So the British Army was very good at saying, okay, so you're winning your age group. We want to support you to try and what's the next step up, and I just controlled that next step until it became, well, I need to race at the professional level because I'm beating all the amateurs, so that's the next step. Right. It wasn't about being a professional or being full-time. And
it wasn't like, hey, I grew up and I saw this person and I want to be that. It's sort of like things. It's funny, we were talking to Sam Long a little earlier, and I said, was there one race that told you that, hey, I could be one of the best? He said, no, it's not one. It's always a few. They're like one race that told me, okay, I'm sort of better than the people in my neighborhood. Another race that told me, okay, I think I'm good in this state. And then you start, you have a next goal and a next step. But it's not just somebody coming out of nowhere and going and winning the Ironman World Championship. Nobody ever heard of them. There's very few Chrissy Wellingtons where that just happens. I just won the World Championships. Well, what happened there? Cool. Did I tell you I just ran into her in Kona?
Oh, no.
In late November. I'm driving, Heidi, my wife Heidi and I were driving to go swim. We're there for Ultraman. And who's running the other way? Chrissy. She's like on a 5-month sabbatical, taking her little one around the world.
That's
and going
amazing.
To places that,
mean important
Nepal
things
and
to her.
places she's been before and things like that. So has this journey from 2019 till now, like you're saying, you're sort of one step at a time. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you say enjoyed, it sounds like that's the past tense, right? I am enjoying it.
Yeah, you're enjoying it, yeah.
Right now, and I feel very young in that as well. So
you've only been doing it for so short a period of time.
Yeah.
It's not like, when you look at people who started, Ben Canute was doing this when he was 8 years old. So he's a 20-year veteran of the sport.
And I think that's something that I'm realizing now. It's people are talking about, it's the first race of the season. You're not going to be that fit, or you don't want to be this fit at the start of the year because it's a long year. But for me, it's not about a cyclic season. I'm just getting better every year. Like except for a little of a blip in 2022.
Wow, when you get
But
hit by a car,
I'm
come on now, yeah.
I'm just getting better each year. So to be in best shape ever now is normal for me, because it's just a steady progression.
Based on where you were last year, now you're this year,
so I obviously hope to be in better shape later in the season, but I don't really understand this sort of cyclic,
Well, where a lot of people, they go, okay, it's hard to peak and be ready in March, and then be ready in July, and be ready and then this year we're talking Taupo is like mid-December or something.
Yeah.
It's a really long season, so you sort of have to.
But I think the triathlon race season has changed now. We're not peaking and troughing like we used to. We're not cherry picking races. The T100 and the Pro Ironman series, everything is different now, and I think it's about being fit for this season, which excites me. I think it's a real challenge for everybody. Some people will mentally approach that as, I can't do that many races, and some people will just say, well, I'm going to give it a go
and see what happens.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to peak and trough. I'm just trying to put my emotional priority on certain races and just maintaining my fitness through the year.
So with 8 of the T100s, you have a sense of how many you want to do, or again you'll take it week by week, race by race?
Yeah, so for me, the Pro Ironman series is the focus.
Okay.
And I really want to be part of the T100 because I believe I can be competitive at it, not just individual races like this, but for the whole series, which I've shown in the PTO ranking. So I think I'm going to aim for 6, but I want to do a 7th. I just think it'll be Vegas whether I do it or not. I think
you gotta go,
and it's going to be a bit strategic. I have to see how I recover from the first Ironman, and when I do my second Ironman, I've got a bit of a decision point there whether I do it earlier or whether I do it later, and that will depend on which PTO T100 race I do. So
is from an Ironman side, you want to go to Nice?
I want to win Nice.
There you go. I want to win Nice. Now you won Ironman Texas. So does that get you? Yeah. So you're
no.
That was in 2023.
That qualified me for this year's Kona, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. But no, I haven't qualified for Nice yet.
So you have to do.
So
that makes it so hard.
No, I'll win Texas. I'll do another Ironman for the series, and then hopefully focus on Nice.
And then do 7 of the
7
T100s.
and 70.3 European champs Tallinn and Taupo. Yeah.
You're like that person who's like, the buffet is right here, and I'm going to eat everything that's here.
It sounds greedy, but I think actually it's more of an aspirational, let's give this a go.
Well, and also when you're looking at this distance is a perfect speed day for Ironman, right?
Sure.
Right? I mean, you can look at it that, okay, when you're doing something that's as short as, I never call these things short, but compared to Ironman, but you go.
It's less than 2 hours of cycling. That's short. That's
great. It is. I mean, you're not even warmed up yet.
Yeah.
2 hours. But then what's nice about it is you're able to recover, right? You recover and put in your training for the long races, and you're also, if you're part of the series, it means you're getting some funding, which also makes life a little easier, right? I'm very
grateful to all of my partners, not just the T100 series. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's a good time to be a pro. I mean, you picked a good era to jump in and say, oh, you know what, the military's going to help me out with this, and I'm going to be a pro, and there's going to be the T100 series, and Ironman's going to start a World Series. There's
a lot of fun racing opportunities.
So many. You think about it. Alcatraz, on the racetrack, right? Nice, which is like the ultimate roller coaster. That was watching that race last year. My God.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Well, when I knew it was going to be a brutal race is the TV guys went out a couple days before, like in the back of a pickup truck, just filming, and they all came back sick. Because of all the twists and turns uphill. It's like somebody getting off a roller coaster. They all looked like white as a ghost. And they're like, this course is brutal. And they were in a car.
Yeah.
They weren't riding the thing. But you like those type of things. You like something that's like St. George, things that are challenging, things that are going to put you a little bit out of the comfort zone.
I just see cycling as more than pushing power in time trialing.
Yes.
And that's because that's how I have to race. There's not being negative about any, other athletes'
Right.
perception of triathlon, but for me, cycling and attacking a course and tactically riding it and skillfully riding it, that's way more interesting to me.
No
it's not
question.
just go
Putting
and
your head down and go,
go
like you'll
on
do
Swift
here.
or whatever it is, for 2 hours, 3 hours.
So with, you mentioned Kona, right? Kona has been not the luckiest place in the world for you. From the year before, you're getting ready, you get hit by a car, you're there with a neck brace, we're having this conversation with bruises and everything else, and you couldn't really turn your neck, and that was scary, scary, scary. When you have something like that happen, do you look at life differently? Because I read through a lot of CAF grants. You could have been one of our grantees. There's no question that what I saw, just the injuries, you were just close to, right? Does it change the way you approach life and the way you approach racing? Does it mean more now?
I'm not sure if I can say specifically it means more. I don't think you don't really have a number. There's not a power number that life meant X and now it means Y.
Right.
But I think I have a bigger perspective, like a different perspective, with more gratitude for the smaller things. And actually, just today, I had just one of those moments. It's quite hard to explain, but I was cycling on the racetrack here, and I honestly just suddenly became very tearful because I realised that I was able to cycle along at high speed and high power, and there was no way a car could hit me.
Right.
And I think it was the realisation that actually, if I'm thinking that, then it's just every time I'm cycling at the moment, I've just sort of repressed this sort of fear, like constant fear, which is, I'm not sure if I want to focus on it before the race, but it was really shocked me.
Yeah, well, and
So,
you think about when you're riding out there, you're hearing and everything else, but you don't really know what's going on behind you. It's scary. It's scary anytime you're out there training, and that's one of the great things about these races at Daytona and Miami is this is pretty damn. You can't get much safer than this. Just gotta
look out for the cones.
Exactly. Watch out for the cones. Yeah. Sarah Perez is like, hey, come on. So
it's challenging. Different perspective.
Right.
And not taking things for granted, definitely. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I'm trying to approach the season so like a bit ridiculously, is just, well, why not? I can, and at the moment I'm fit and healthy enough to try, so why not try?
Exactly. I agree 1,000%, because you miss every opportunity you don't take.
I would be gutted if I had decided not to do the T100 series and I wasn't here today when all of this is going on at the start of the year.
It's so fun.
Why would it's a no-brainer to me.
What I love about this weekend is tomorrow morning is World Triathlon, right? It's people who are trying to go to the Olympics. And then at 10 o'clock, we got all the para-athletes, and so many of them are RCF grantees, and just seeing that they can punch their ticket to go to Paris tomorrow and change their life. It's so cool. And then on Saturday, you guys will be racing under the lights.
Yeah.
We heard, they were telling us, I think Andre said, the lights, when they turn the lights on here, it basically would light up 700 blocks, right? That's the amount of power.
It's a bit like this interview.
Yeah, exactly. Like these lights. Yeah. These would light up about 800 blocks. But that to me, you're racing. Who gets a race under the lights?
I know. Well, I've never done it before, so I think.
Well, and the other thing you're going to love is racing Nice. Besides the ride, everybody was talking about, it's going to be dull running the multiple laps.
I love that.
People loved it. And you have 10,000 people who happen to be on a promenade who can't spell triathlon, who are out there cheering because, this is a happening, right? This is something cool.
That's very cool.
It's so cool. It was really fun to watch last year, and it's going to be even better.
You'll be there?
In
person, yeah?
I will be there,
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're going to end up doing we have actually a CF gala on the Wednesday of that week. So I think we're going to come in, do championship edition, then go to Ibiza.
Oh. Lovely.
See, I'm thinking the same way as you.
Yeah.
Got to take every opportunity.
I think I'm going to have to roll into Ibiza afterwards.
Exactly. Just come over
be
and
tough.
hang out.
Yeah. No, to
we'll
race.
Have some wine or something.
To race.
Oh, you'll race right there.
T100.
Why not?
We sort of have to.
So,
so it's going to be tough.
There's going to be a lot of people beat up for going to that
I think
race.
you'll see quite a few Nice athletes just rolling into Ibiza.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I know Lucy's coming to Nice just to be there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she'll hang out there and then go race Ibiza.
She'll probably just race Nice.
Yeah,
You
so
know what
just
she's
jump
saying.
in. I
Yeah.
know. Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So for when you came to Kona this year, it just was one of those days where you just.
I honestly, I can't explain yet or ever maybe whether there's a reason.
Yeah.
I think there was multi reasons, like a few reasons, and one of them, when I got home just a week later or so, I had a blood test because it was a bit worrying.
Yeah.
And it said I had raised white blood cells, which is like an infection marker.
Yeah.
So still 10 days later.
Wow.
And some infection, like raised sort of markers in the liver as well. So a few those things paired together, you could come up with a medical thing, like maybe I had a virus and maybe it was like liver and therefore glycogen, and because my symptoms were a bit like bonking.
Right.
But I think what is hard for me to accept is that I think I was also paired with something going wrong. I also had this sort of safety concern, and I think there was and perhaps still is some sort of post-traumatic stress element.
No question about it.
And even though the crash itself didn't happen in Kona, my first sort of memories and dealing with it were Kona, because we came straight there.
Yeah.
So I think I've repressed some things that I need to deal with before 2025.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not like there's any statute of limitation on that stuff, because I've got athletes who were injured 20 years ago, and their life had become so busy they didn't have time to think about back then. But then all of a sudden it hits, so you don't. And PTSD is pretty. Not scary.
PTSD. We don't need to label it, but in my opinion, but for me, just post-traumatic stress. There's some symptoms there.
Right.
I don't think that there's a disorder. I think, and I'm advised and reassured that there is no diagnosis of a disorder, but more just requires some perhaps therapy.
It was a trauma. You dealt with a trauma, and that's something that you never know when that type of stuff comes back. But the nice thing is, you're racing here with some of your favorite people.
Yeah.
The women in Kona last year that whole week was so special. Just the vibe, and one of the age group women was telling me she was out there swimming during the week and ran into somebody, and she said for the first time ever, she's been there 25 years, the person stopped and said, "Oh, so sorry," because it's usually some guy hitting you going, "Get out of my way." Just another woman who was like, it really
was special.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
It's just the vibe, and everybody caring, everybody cheering for Lucy, who were racing the race. Yeah, it was very special. And every woman got out of the water, 93% finish rate. There wasn't one woman who didn't finish the swim. Women are a little better at taking care of themselves than us losers. Guys. I love it. Kat, have so much fun on Saturday. It's going to be really fun. And race finishes at dark and at the nighttime, and we all get to go out and play afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see you in the finish party lounge
I will
area.
see you at the finish party. I
Great.
love it. Kat Matthews has been our guest again. Breakfast with Bob from Clash Miami. Hold on. We will be right back.